after the game.
I do.
Here is what Kevin Durant had to say about that team's starting lineup. And remember, Kyrie Irving was not a part of it. He will join the team back in Brooklyn. Kevin Durant said the following, and I quote, "Look at our starting lineup. Edmund Sumner, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, and me. It's not disrespect, but what are you expecting from that group? You expect us to win because I'm out there. Jalen, this is not what KD signed up for. He thought he was going to be on a super team. And now, look at the people that he is playing with, and it is hard as a teammate to not take that as disrespect." What is your response to his thoughts after that big loss?
The great American philosopher Styles P. once said, "Get married to the game, but never have a kid with it." Kevin Durant decided to go play in Brooklyn to team up with Kyrie Irving. They're both still on the roster. It's just that there are certain circumstances, like last year with Kyrie, when he decided not to get vaccinated, cost him playing half of their home games, and ultimately cost them a relationship with James Harden, which they parlayed incorrectly into Ben Simmons, who isn't a productive player for them. When we start to look at the greatest basketball players of all time, Kevin Durant's going to be listed.
Oh, yeah.
When we start talking about the greatest scorers of all time, Kevin Durant's going to be noted. When they show back-to-back finals MVPs, Kevin Durant's going to be listed. And you and I talk about it all of the time on this show. Whether it's Ja Morant, whether it's Luka Doncic, we should win because we got him. That don't change for KD, Jacoby. And I know those players who he named, quote unquote, won't take it as a disrespect, but that's almost like saying, I don't mean to insult you, and then turn around and insult you. And so, again, Kyrie's going to return. He's going to be a dynamic performer when he gets back. But overarching, without Ben Simmons, this won't be a contending team, even with KD and Kyrie.
I mean, this does feel like what KD did not sign up for, because when he joined the Nets, him and Kyrie linked together and they're like, we're going to do this. And they had a nice sort of supporting role player core. They gave up a lot of those role players to bring in James Harden. And when the three of them got together, they're like, this is a super team. This is going to be scary hours. When you mentioned, the back-to-back finals MVPs and one of the greatest scorers of all time, I think they thought that was going to be one of the greatest teams of all time, at least greatest offenses of all time. And we all know what happened from there. And you mentioned Ben Simmons' contribution or lack thereof so far this season. There's been reports that the team is frustrated. Some unnamed sources have expressed that even when he's in the game, he doesn't contribute that much. That game against the Kings, he scored 11 points, which was his season high up to this point. What do you think about teammates and people within the organization being critical of Ben Simmons when he's on the court and off the court?
Take it firsthand from me. The more teams you play on, the less dynamic your role is. The more you get moved, the more you go from being the guy to one of the guys. In Philly, top-level draft pick, all NBA performer, all defensive candidate. With the Nets, a substitute that just had a season-high 11 points. And now is soul searching for his game. And as you mentioned, has people in the organization not necessarily questioning if he wants to play basketball, Jacoby. What they're really questioning is, will he be an all-star again? And I say no, because you got to score the ball in order for that to happen. And I'll ask you this question again. How did he pass his physical? How did he pass his physical and then get back surgery without playing the game?
I still believe in you, Ben. Ben Simmons, I still believe in you. And also, at the same time, when Kevin Durant was being critical of the starting lineup of his own team, he also sort of explained why he asked for a trade request this summer. And he said the following, and I quote, he said, "It wasn't difficult at all to request a trade because it was about ball. I went to them and was like, yo, I don't like how we're preparing. I don't like shoot-arounds. I like practices. I need more. I want to work on more. Bleep. Hold me accountable." He said that to Chris Haynes. Shout to him. I look at this as a shot at Steve Nash, who is no longer in the building. If you read the article, he went on to sort of praise Jacques Vaughn a little bit as well. Do you see it as the same?
One-man teams aren't going to win a championship, but what this sounds like is the Nets need a leader in uniform. Because since KD and Kyrie have been there, how many coaches have they now had?
3.
Okay, so the musical chairs at coaching ain't really changing the dynamics of what we're watching as it relates to the Kings scoring a season high 153 points. But one of the things I remind myself, and you can't be mad at somebody understanding who they are and what they want. A couple of the things that KD said that he wanted when he went to Golden State is to play with other great players, which he did, was able to join a team that just won 70 plus games, that had won a championship before he arrived, that had the Splash Brothers and Draymond Green all playing at all NBA levels. Steve Kerr on the sideline. But you know what else he said that he wanted? To go somewhere where he didn't have to worry about being the leader. So when you leave and go to the Nets, that now becomes the responsibility, Jacoby. That ain't gonna be on Jacques Vaughn. That ain't gonna be on Steve Nash. That ain't gonna be on Sean Marks. You know why? They ain't playing. When you look back at the history of the league, every time you talk about the best coaches, you're gonna talk about them having the best players and vice versa. They go hand in hand. And so I'm not, in theory, mad. You can't be mad at somebody's trade request, but there's a mirror right there. And at some point, these Nets are gonna go as far as KD and Kyrie lead them. And hopefully when Kyrie returns, they're now playing productive and winning basketball, not resembling the only team that got swept out of the playoffs last year.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.